Hi, my name is Sarah Salinas. Today I'm going to be discussing the topic over police brutality. I decided to speak about this because it is a popular topic going on in the world right now, and because I felt like it is something that needs to be talked about, so I'm going to go ahead and dive into this. Police brutality or excessive use of force by law enforcement can be legally defined as a civil rights violation, where law enforcement officers exercise undue or excessive force against a subject. I found that definition on Wikipedia/police brutality. This may include, but is not limited to, physical or verbal harassment, physical or mental injury, property damage, and can even be death. In some countries, the color of law protects officers from ambiguous situations. What's the problem in this? Police brutality has always been a huge problem in the United States. Every day, innocent people's lives are being lost in the most unreasonable and disgusting way. Rayshard Brooks, 27 years old, died year 2020. He fell asleep in his car, blocking the drive-thru lane at a fast food restaurant. Police arrived and tried communicating to him for more than 40 minutes. When police told him that they were going to restrain him, and he took off running and was shot twice in the back. Another person was George Floyd, 46 years old, died in the year 2020. George was allegedly trying to use a counterfeit $20 bill. George was handcuffed on the ground. As Officer Derek knelt on his neck for 8 minutes and 48 seconds, as George pleaded for his life with not one but 4 other officers present, as he spoke the words, "I can't breathe." After George became unresponsive, the officer continued to keep his knee on George. 2 autopsies reports listed his death as a homicide, although they gave different causes. Who's affected in this? Because of all these deaths happening, millions of Americans are fearing for their lives, scared to go outside their houses, in fear of being pulled over and killed by officers. Officers are supposed to be the people we call when scared and need help, but who are people supposed to call when the police are the ones causing the harm and violence? The consequences and how people are dealing with this. People protested in Minneapolis, and it quickly escalated from a peaceful protest to a huge looting fest. People completely destroyed stores and businesses, small and big. Demonstrators were lashed by tear gas and rubber bullets. The main message is that everyone wants to see those officers involved arrested. I found out about this through news, and also through there's a famous song by Lil Baby. It's called The Bigger Picture. I recommend a lot of y'all listening to it because it speaks about just everything going on. So I just want to say that. How does this help fix humanity? It took a lot of fighting, protesting, and retweeting, but after speaking on all these past deaths done by police officers, Officer Rufi was fired, as well as all 4 officers involved in George Floyd's death were charged for second-degree murder. Wolfie was charged with felony murder. Brashawn faced a number of charges, including aggravated assault. After the police got charged, it has brought justice to the family, friends, and people who are living in fear. This helps people by making them feel safe that these police officers are off the street and can no longer cause harm to more people. But the truth is, police brutality does not just end here, because in a few weeks or maybe years, the same things will still be happening unless we the people come together as a community and put a stop to this crime. We have to stop letting police officers slide simply because they are supposed to be our help system, whether it's them being racist or as simple as an officer giving you a ticket for something you didn't do. Everyone should suffer consequences equally. I believe this will not change until everyone else changes and sees the wrongdoings. Some ways of making sure police brutality comes to a stop is number one, tracking the problem. This means keeping an accurate database. It's clear that black people are killed at a disproportionate rate by police officers, making up 24 of deaths despite being only 13 of the population, according to Mapping Police Violence, but the databases rely on media reports of deaths, not police departments, cities, states, or even government data, for the simple reason that many police departments are not forthcoming with this information. Another way is demilitarizing the police. For decades, our governments are funding so much money towards weapons that police simply should not have any access to. For example, grenade launchers and bayonets. When putting these kind of weapons in police's hands, they're destined for something like this to happen. Another way is regulatory ways to change police culture. Use of Force Project found that in departments that adopt more of 8 policies that limit how police can use force, the police kill fewer citizens. These policies include number 1, requiring officers to de-escalate before using force. Number 2, using guidelines defining the types of force that can be used to respond to specific situations. Number 3, restricting or banning chokeholds and strangleholds. Number 4, requiring verbal warning before using deadly force. Number 5, prohibiting officers from shooting at moving vehicles except in extreme circumstances. Number 6, requiring officers to exhaust other options before resorting to deadly force. Number 7, establishing a duty by officers intervening if one of their colleagues is using excessive force. Number 8, requiring officers to report all uses of force or attempted use of force. Police brutality will never be okay, and we will not stop fighting for justice until justice is met.